Welcome to selfdiscoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Building Your Business right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest today is Carl Richards. He has something very special for you. You are starting a business and you need a podcast. Do you? Do you know how to set one up? Do you know how much work that goes into it? He says, thinking about starting a podcast but feeling hesitant? With the right support, launching your show is simple. Let your voice shine. And podcasting, as we know, is the kind of a new medium where people can really go and listen in depth or share in depth things that everything else is headliner, hearing it down to the real content. You said everyone has a voice, and through many of us are afraid to use it. For the first 12 years of his life, he wrestled with debilitating stutter that silenced him. It was easier to be quiet and then speak up. He learned a speech therapy that the only person in control of your speech is you. Very powerful. And he went on to enjoy a 25-year career in radio broadcasting, now a podcast strategist. He started the radio broadcasting, but really what he wanted to be was an actor, but for every actor who makes it, there are thousands working in the drive-through asking what you want, fries with that. So very true. And he figured out starting the media would be a good bridge to becoming an actor. He loved the radio world so much that he didn't want to leave it. He did a lot of community theater when he wasn't on air, and when his radio career ended during the pandemic, he chose self-employment full-time, already had a part-time speaker training gig to help coaches, consultants, and offer subject matters. Experts launch the world-class podcast. Now, you know, as a podcaster of 13 and a half years, the first 18 months I was with another network. So I just did my show and she did everything else. Then I went out on my own. I had somebody who initially helped me with the audio, and then they went out and did their own thing. And I was left having to do it all myself. And as a person that isn't terribly tech, the first 5.5 years I only did audio, and then I went to audio and video. It was quite challenging for me to learn. And I had some hats I had to wear that were a bit wobbly. A lot of people think it's, oh, I just need to press play and talk. There's a lot more to it, isn't there, Carl?
Oh, there's a few more moving parts to it, Sarah, as you no doubt have learned over how many years did you say? 13?
13 and a half, yes.
13 and a half. Well, we'll count that half year as a full year. Let's say 14 years.
Well, it's just because over half, so yes.
That probably was a lot of things that you learned in that time. But no, you're absolutely right. It's there's a lot of moving parts to a show. And that's why, you know, one of the things that we look at is strategy first, because strategy, if you're just doing a show for the sake of doing a show, for just, as you said, for the sake of talking, what impact are you going to have? That's like watching a TV show that's there just for the sake of being a TV show.
Which we do see a number of those out
there. There are some shows like that, but you still want to be able to have some impact, especially if you're establishing a podcast for business. You want it to be a clear reflection of your brand, your business, and your credibility. And you don't want to risk doing something that would put those things in jeopardy. And honestly, Sarah, you've probably seen it. I know I have. The number of people who do day in, day out, and then they scratch their heads 2 years or 3 years in and say, I wonder why I'm not getting anywhere with this podcast, or why I'm not getting the clients I thought I would.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're like, so many people go gung-ho on it. I used to have hosts, and all they had to do was the interview. They had the form for the guest to fill out. They sent me the form. They sent me the MP4. That's all they had to do. And I did all the other work. Oh, God, it's so hard. And all you have to do is get your own clients. Sometimes I even send you clients. And it was like, I'm doing all the work here, right? And for so many people, it's, oh, yes, I could be a podcaster. And then they realize there is an art and an act to it, whether you are interviewing people or whether you are holding the audience on your own. But I do believe that for business, and with all the years that I've been doing this, I know many people are doing this and it helps their business, is having a podcast as an invitation, a calling card, a business card to people, where you can even have it at the bottom of your email, a little podcast, come and see all about me. Or you have it on your website where it's an invitation, and even interviewing clients that you have had and their experience with it, rather than just a testimony, which most people think of being bought nowadays. Let it be the proof of the pudding and actually coming from the client in a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right with the organic marketing for sure. There are so many ways that you can promote your show without having to. I mean, if you'd like to get into paid ads and sponsorships, that's a bit of a scary slope or a slippery slope. Yeah, and I think that part of the challenge with that, Sarah, is so many people compare
Yes.
podcasting to radio and television and even print. Well, yeah, you get all these subscribers or watchers, viewers rather, and listeners, and they make money. Well, because that's the way those media were
Yes.
set up years
Yes.
ago.
Yes.
What do you think pays for radio and television? And
Mm-hmm.
print is ads. That's what
Yeah.
pays for it. Podcasting is different, and you don't need a massive audience to have impact. Can you have a massive audience? Sure. But if you are adding impact and having firstly, your organic marketing, that's going to get you a greater reach. But the best marketing is, number one, always going to be word of mouth. But also, what are you putting into that show every single week, every single episode, that's going to bring the listener and more to you? That's going to have more impact than whether or not you have a sponsored by or
Yes.
brought to you in part by
Yes.
tag in there.
Exactly. You're the fishing hook,
Exactly.
right? So what
Yeah.
you are sharing is for people to go, I want to know more. All right. Or you're
Yeah.
sharing something. If you wish to know more, reach out to me. It is your fishing hook, right? And I always say people buy you before they buy from you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
in this world
Absolutely.
of fake news and fake this and AI, everything now, and nothing against AI. I think AI in the right use is absolutely wonderful tool, but not when it comes to replacing you and your authenticity, right? There's so much out there that we're looking at and go, is it real? Is it real? I don't know. So actually having a podcast where they can actually see your lips moving. And I know now, oh, AI could do your podcast for you. No, please don't. Please don't.
I was just going to say that, yes. And this is, I think, where we're going to see, if I could gaze into my crystal ball that I don't have because I can't afford the crystal. But anyways, if I gaze into my crystal
Not these
ball,
days.
it's more like just a glass fishbowl, actually, is what I'm looking into.
Turned upside down.
Yeah, exactly. See, you've got one too, apparently. If you look into this thing and say, okay, well, where is it headed over the next 3 to 5 years? Are we going to see more AI influence? Absolutely.
Yes.
But the one area that I think is going to be, how shall I say it? I think it's going to come into question because we're already in this place that people want raw, people want real, people want authentic.
Yes.
It's not authentic if you don't even show up for your own podcast.
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, we're going to see a huge, is there a benefit to it? Absolutely. But if you are that busy that you can't even show up for your audience, what's going to be next? Hologram speakers on a stage at a conference? Because that's, when you think of a podcast, and Sarah, I think we're cut from a similar piece of cloth, that I think of a podcast as a stage.
Yes.
Well, are we going to see physical stages now with holograms on them, with speakers making, you're paying basically a conference registration to see a hologram on a stage?
Yeah,
no,
why are you going there?
Exactly.
To see a hologram, you could have done it online.
So the raw and the real, I think, is still going to be in the people who are showing up and they are there. I don't think we're going to see a diminishing or AI hosts disappear.
Yeah.
But I think that for those business owners, and there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are the face and the voice of their business, if they're not showing up, guess what? They're not going to get the clients. That's my 2 cents. That's my fishbowl analogy.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, because quite honestly, what do we want as human nature? Engagement. We want to know we're having a conversation with somebody that's real. I call the world headliners nowadays. Headline, sensation, da 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 da. And then what we've done is shorten the attention span of people. And then they're left flapping from one thing next to the other. We're creating ADD behavior, right?
Mhm.
And I have ADD, so I do know, that focusing is hard. And when you're titillating and sensationalizing and subjecting and all of that going on all the time, where is the content? Where is the truth? And people are just buying the next sensation and not
Mhm.
going into content. I kind of compare it to like the housewives of. Everybody is watching it to watch a train wreck. Who's
Mhm.
had the LASIK plastic surgery? Who's going to tear someone's wig off their head? Who is going to be bitchy at someone? And there isn't anything profound in there. It is all about watching that train wreck and who's going to be derail first. And is it we have as a society have got to look at ourselves and go, what are we putting out? And is it beneficial? And I think there's a lot of accountability that has to be in your podcast, no matter what business you're in.
Mhm.
People
Mhm.
want to know, is that you? Is it coming from an agenda? Is it the mouth speaking? Or can you feel the essence of the person coming through?
And I'm sorry, AI can't replace that. And I don't want to
No.
go down the AI path. I know that that's not the path we want to go down
No,
so
no,
too
no,
much.
no. We need to because a lot of people think now, oh, I can
Yeah.
just do an avatar and AI can do it. And sometimes it's really hard because the
But
AI's got so good.
the AI is only as good as what you put into it or what
Yeah.
you tell it to do. And that's one of the things I'm realizing. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing on, and again, I question what I see on social media, but I'm seeing the
Mm-hmm.
results of colleagues who say, hey, I had AI, certain AI tool. I asked it this, and then it
Mm-hmm.
gave me this information, and it basically lied to me.
Right.
So I'm seeing that. I'm seeing
Yes.
that, and I'm reflecting on that, going, okay, so use it where you need to use it.
Yeah.
Question it always.
Yes.
Verify information that you're giving to it, but also don't expect that it's the be all end all. Because I think that's the
Right.
thing is a lot of people think it's saving me hours upon hours of work. Wonderful. But if that's what you're relying on, is
Mm-hmm.
just that, and you're not checking it
Yeah.
for accuracy,
Yes.
for spelling, syntax, all of those things, then you could find yourself in a world of trouble. And from a podcasting perspective, do you want that fakeness or
Mm-hmm.
inauthentic version of
Mm-hmm.
you to be out there? I
How
would think
authentic is that?
exactly.
Yeah.
Here's the inauthentic version of me.
Yes.
Uh, so
What does that
that's
say
yeah.
about your business? Right?
Well,
If
exactly.
then where is that invitation coming from you? And then people have got to sign up for this and jump through hoops for that. And then you go like, oh, hang on, is this Wizard of Oz? What's behind the curtain?
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
we want
Exactly.
when we are craving as a humanity right now connection. We are craving truth. We are craving a real conversation about things that matter. And we're not getting it because of all of this slap in the face. Now, I interviewed ChatGPT a few months ago and had an amazing conversation with it. It really blew my mind, right? And I do use it a lot for many things. But yes, you need to check it. Yes, you need to verify it. It's like an intelligent puppy dog that wants to please you, right? Its tail is wagging if you approve of it, and it will. And you do have to verify sometimes, or even question and say, "Are you sure that's real?" Verify,
Mhm.
and it'll come back and go, "Oh, I'm sorry, that isn't. I misunderstood." And it's not, it is human intelligence. I don't know why they call it artificial intelligence because it's collective human intelligence,
Right.
right? And
I like to
even
refer
humans
to
are
it.
not
Yeah,
always
I was going to say I
accurate.
like to refer to it as. I know that it means artificial intelligence, but I like to refer to it as augmented
Very
intelligence
good. Very good. Yes.
because it's not replacing
No.
what we are already doing. It's
Right.
augmenting
Yes.
what we're doing in certain applications. I think about how many hours I would need to research certain topics to put together a talk, a
Hmm.
60-minute talk that I can deliver at a conference. How much research would I have to do? Diligent research, looking, combing the internet. How much time would I need to put into ordering my slides,
Hmm.
making sure all of that information is correct? Again, you're still checking it, you're still
Hmm.
tooling it yourself.
It's an
But how much
assistant.
would exactly? That's exactly what it is. By the way, and it doesn't replace my VA
No.
because I still have a VA who
Yeah.
still ends up putting together my slide deck.
I'm
So
probably using AI in order to do things as well, but you
exactly.
still need the human interaction.
Exactly. And I think this is what we need. And I'm glad you mentioned that we crave connection, because
Yes.
we do. And we also crave community. And what's ironic, Sarah, is we think it's the younger generation that's going to be on the bandwagon with AI. Guess who's disconnecting the most? Guess who's unplugging the most? It's not you. It's not me. It's people who are in university or just getting out of high school. They're the ones who are living off grid. They're the ones who are doing things that are disconnecting them from technology. Yeah. It's crazy people like you and I that are connected to it all the time because we're podcasters.
Exactly.
But that younger generation is craving that human connection and that community, because for years, 3 or 4 to be exact, in recent years, we didn't have it because we were closed up, closed in, couldn't go anywhere because there was this bug going around called COVID-19. So we couldn't do that. So we're
and there's
craving
been another
it now.
Bug since 2016, which has caused a lot of misinformation and sensationalism and everything else. And, I have 3 millennials and they love listening to podcasts. They'll do it while they're house cleaning or working or thising or thating, because they are looking for content. They are looking for something that is like, I don't want to live like my parents because the world is dysfunctional and they created that. I want a different world. And I feel millennials have done in many ways is literally walked away from the world that we set up for them and saying, I don't want this, but kind of almost abstaining from participating in making it different. And then you've got that next generation that goes, well, hang on, what are we going to do about it? I want to be proactive. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, let's look at AI. It is a tool. It can help me to get my message out. There is a brilliant person who uses AI with music, and I actually don't know if if it's a mixture of people or all AI. It's Kelly Bosch, in fact. Actually, I've done a show on her this week because her music and her visuals have just moved me so much. This is, I think, where AI has made us so much more creative. Right? You can have AI assist you in your podcasting if you want sound effects, if you want this, if you want that. It can help you with that. But it is still a tool. It is an assistant. It's a very creative assistant, and it can allow you to expand your creativity. But there is this platform called, I think it's Notebook, where you can give it your audio or whatever, and it will, AI people will discuss your podcast and analyze it. And it's like, and people are putting that out before the podcast, but then is that coherent to actually what the podcast really is? Or have people now listened to that 5-minute notebook thing and go, well, I don't need to know anymore. They just told me everything. Right. So
yeah, and I think that with notebook.lm, it's a great tool. And I think a lot of people are using it for research. So they're putting, for example, they're putting their website or their social media page or whatever into the notebook.lm and saying, okay, create a podcast around this based on what I've just shared with you.
Right.
And so as a research tool, it's great.
Yes.
If you're posting that publicly, and again, it should be a reflection of your brand, your business, and your credibility, unless you are a big corporation. But even if you're a big corporations still have spokespeople who are there for them. They're not relying on the automated version of their spokesperson. They're relying on the spokesperson, whoever that is, to go and do that job. That's what they do.
They're the window that we're shopping
exactly.
At. Yeah.
Exactly. 100%. And if it was, but to your point, it's exactly that. It is a tool. It is a tool that you should use as necessary. And I'll even say use it sparingly, because we don't want to rot our own intelligence. And there's been some early research and results put out there about how we're not challenging our thinking like we used to, because we're just throwing something into our AI tools and saying, hey, do this for me. Even with creative creative things outside of podcasts. people who are creating music and art and saying, look what I created using AI, not realizing that, there are musicians that's their art, or there are
Yes.
visual artists that paint and do
Yes. Yes.
sculpting.
And
That's
it's
what they
allowed them to
do.
expand on that, which is
Exactly.
wonderful. This is what AI is about, is allowing that expansion on it. And when people see you in a podcast, whether it is an introduction into your work, whether you're a guest on somebody else's show, or whether you have somebody to come on to kind of talk about what it is that you do, we really want to know that every word that comes out of you is something authentic, organic, right? And that it isn't about the six figures and the rah rah and the sign up now. It's engaging, right? I hear it. I resonate with this. Oh, you're speaking to me, right? Oh, I've got to reach out because I know we're on the same wavelength. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have that coming out of a podcast, then people are going to go next.
Yeah, we're in this world of and it can be a very slippery slope here. We're being entertained a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be proactive a lot, if
100%.
that makes sense.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's not just if you're listening to podcasts simply for entertainment, that's fine. But
Yes.
if you're listening to podcasts for business, wondering,
Mm-hmm.
or to fine tune skill sets or whatever, then take those shows a little more seriously. Like
Yeah.
don't take them so seriously that you're not having fun listening, but listen to what the hosts are saying. And if there is an offering, if there is something
Mm-hmm.
there that's going to move you forward in your business or your whatever it is that you're doing, take them up on that offer, because
Yeah.
you don't know how that's going to have impact, especially if the host is bringing forward their their IP, their intellectual property,
Yeah.
what they've done for years in business, to
Yes.
share that with you. Take them up on that for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Allow yourself to grow.
When I interview people, I call them why shows.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing what you're doing? And how did you get here? Whom is it for? And how does it work? And the beauty of it is, I get to interview people. I've done about 3,000 shows now. So I get to interview people that have had their redirect. They've now stepped into something meaningful and passionate. Many of them have had a cosmic 2x4 and kind of had to be a phoenix and rebirth themselves into a whole new area. But when you feel the passion, when you feel the calling, when you feel it's their purpose, that they're really, it's coming from the heart. And people say, who do I interview? I said, I don't care what the topic is as long as it's coming from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
That it really is here to serve somebody as an inspiration, whether somebody's just a novelist and got a good book out there, or somebody who just wants to share a story that has an impact, or whether it's somebody sharing business. We actually, as human beings, learn better through storytelling. And storytelling has stepped up into podcasting. And
Mm-hmm.
people are now looking at sharing their business through a story. Let me tell you about da 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 da. And then that is where the resonance comes in. That's where that connectivity comes in. That's where you feel that you've been spoken to because somebody has gone through that experience. That's, the inspiration begets the invitation. But, it isn't about pitching to people. It's about sharing something where they become engaged.
100%. Absolutely. And it should be an engagement piece.
Mm,
It goes back to I think it goes back to your content. Your content
yes,
should be engaging the audience, and it doesn't matter what your podcast is about. Yes, okay, some of your story-based podcasts or your true crime is what I'm thinking of,
yes,
or if it's sports or if it's comedy, again, completely different kind of
yes,
podcast. But if you are telling stories and you are engaging your audience and moving them to action, that's gold.
yeah,
If you're just saying, hey, here's my story, or here's me and a guest, thank you, have a lovely day, and the purpose of your podcast is to bring more people into your fold, into your community, you're missing something.
Where's the
Where's the call?
invitation?
Where's the call to action? Where's the
Yes,
invitation? It's like,
yes.
if Sarah, I'd love to have you over for dinner. I know it's a bit of a plane ride to come on over for dinner, but you come for dinner. Love to have you come over. I'll give you. I'll tell you the town I live in. I live in Gananoque, Ontario, in Canada. Is there something missing?
Yes.
Like maybe my address? So you're not going to just go banging on every door
On every door. But you
It's
also
not, it's
haven't
not a very
told me
big
what you're going to serve me.
Oh, well, I do sometimes serve leg of lamb, so I don't know if you're a lamb person or not, but
Vegetarian.
okay, well, not lamb then. Something vegetarian, a vegetarian lasagna, maybe. I don't know. We'll figure that out. We'll figure out the menu later. But the point is that I need to give you all of the pieces,
Yes.
especially the okay, here's the action pieces.
Call to action.
Go to my house.
Yes.
Bang on the door. I'll let you in for dinner. That's,
Right. Yes. And I find that when I look at social media, people are posting something. The amount of times I have to say to them, "This is great. What's the link? What's the link
yeah.
that I'm doing this, I'm doing that." There's no link for me to go any further to sign up or to see more detail. And they're so caught up in the enthusiasm of what they're doing, they've forgotten the invitation.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they didn't even realize about the invitation all
Yeah.
from the beginning. And I think that's a faux pas with especially a lot of newer podcasters, but I think it's a
Mm,
faux pas even with podcasters who have been doing it for a while, where they not only did they not drop the link, but they
yeah.
don't even send the invitation because they just expect that, well, I've been podcasting 4 years, 5 years, whatever. That's great. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Great track record, I'm sure. But if you don't give the invitation,
Where's the follow through?
you can't expect people to just
No,
show up.
no.
I attune it to, you wouldn't wink at somebody in the dark. They wouldn't see you do it. So why are you not giving your listeners, your
Yes.
audience or your viewers, all of the things that they need? Where's the invitation? Where's the call to action? Where's the whatever it is? Because that's how you build
Yeah.
community. That's how you build engagement. When I worked in radio, Sarah, sometimes we had to work at this because we didn't always get, been around a while. The phone didn't always ring. You know that thing that was chained to the desk, and
Yes.
you had to pick it up, and there was a cord on the end of it. You had the telephone.
Or the block
Uh,
with the antenna.
yeah. So we would have to what we call seed our calls.
Mm,
So we would have to introduce a topic, but before we introduced the topic, we'd have to say, what if we don't get any calls on this? So we
mm,
would have to, the day before or 20 minutes, 30 minutes before, call people who we know.
mm,
Maybe they're around the radio station, but they're not known by their voice. We call and say, hey, we're going to be talking about this on the radio in a couple of hours. Can we get a comment from you on it? To
mm.
seed the conversation so
Yes.
we could play that audio clip and then say, what are your thoughts? Give us a call. That would allow people or bring people into the conversation. And sometimes you
Nobody
have to
wants to
do
be the
that.
first,
Exactly. Well, there's that too.
right?
Or they only want to call if there's a prize to win. We
You're
found that.
right. Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
oh, there's a
yeah.
prize to win. I'm going to win tickets to a show. Great. But they
No.
wouldn't necessarily call to engage in conversation. But when you start to seed the calls, and by the way, you
Yes.
can do this with your podcast too.
Hmm.
You can seed the conversation. You can seed a mailbag. I know it's also an old term. Yeah, love to have our listeners, our viewers give us feedback. Just got a letter from Sarah, just got an email from Sarah. I'm dating myself. Just got an email from Sarah who says she loves the show and wanted to say she really appreciated the conversation that I had with Joan Smith.
Exactly.
Great. Thanks so much for writing in, Sarah. Yeah, that's called seeding your podcast.
And
Um,
and and it's a way of kind of other people are being engaged. There's something to be engaged about, right? And what I
exactly.
used to do is like I used to put out coming next week and put out the banner of the person I was going to interview, and people could read all the comments. But what I did find after that, when the show went live, people didn't go back to listen, right? So I stopped doing that. Um, but I put out a banner every week of just with the people's faces I'm interviewing and what we're going to be covering, and do it that way so people can go in and then choose which person they want to listen to, or all of them, whatever the case is. I, I find that a lot of people, and I'd like to ask you about this if you find it works, because maybe it's
Mhm.
different in business, kind of putting out a 2-minute teaser and then
Yeah.
have people come back on the date. But I have just found people's attention span is so short
Mhm.
that unless you grab them then, you know um and my podcast go live every Tuesday, unless you
Mhm.
grab them then, and that they can go to it immediately and get engaged, they're already on to the next. And so I feel that It's when you are promoting it, that it has to be where are they going right now, not coming back next week for it.
Yeah, I think teasers work well in conventional media, radio,
Mm,
television, more television. I think we see a lot
yes.
of that. You know, such and such a show, it's on Sunday evening or
Yeah.
whatever. We're at the yeah, that I think works well.
Yes.
But I think for a podcast, because they live there organically, they're not
Hmm.
date specific. And as you said, we're very busy.
Yes.
And are we going to remember
Hmm.
to go back and watch or listen? Not
Yeah.
only that, what if we don't see the teaser
Hmm.
or hear the
Exactly.
teaser? So you need to make sure it's out there. And how television gets away with it is they'll run a promo ad for whatever it is that's coming up. They'll
Mm.
run it for 2 weeks or a week or whatever, 4, 5, 6 times a day.
Yes.
And that's where they get the engagement. And depending on what it is, they might have to run it longer, but that's how they do it. Or they're dropping ads or dropping hints somewhere. I mean, we're seeing now on platforms like YouTube a lot of
Hmm.
advertising for things on Netflix advertising on its own platform
Yes,
about
exactly.
things that
Hmm.
are coming up, like the I'm a big fan of Stranger Things, not
Oh,
things that are
so
strange, but
just seeing the first
Stranger
episode
Things.
of the last season.
Oh, I won't tell you
Whoa!
what happens. I
I
won't tell
know,
you what
but whoa,
happens.
heavy one. I
Um,
couldn't watch another one, and I thought, no,
oh,
I need something lighter right now. But
yeah.
yeah, but
But
whoo,
I think the teaser itself
yes,
can work, but
yes,
understand that it's better to have a generic, if I can say
mm,
it that way, promotional, whether it's a reel or an audiogram or a promo video or a series of them that run once the podcast is live, because at least there's a better
yes.
chance that people are going to
People
click
being
on it and go
engaged.
see it right away. That's
I
the thing. We're
agree.
in this immediate,
I
we want it
know.
now.
Yeah, and this I want it now is having us miss out on a great deal because we've, as I
Yeah.
said, we've made everybody ADD with short attention spans. And what we're happening with people is like, well, you haven't captured me with the headline. You haven't captured me in the first 2 minutes. I'm bored. I'm going off. That is not the podcasting or the content's fault. It is your fault for not just listening long enough to be engaged,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that we have to take some ownership as a listener, right? This isn't about AI is instant. This is instant. That is instant. We're not. We are actually designed to give things thought and time and
Mm-hmm.
experience it and digest it. We are meant to do that. As we digest our food, we digest the information, we let it sit there. What can I do with it? How do I feel about it? And if everything is instant, 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 then all it is a teaser of the buffet, but all you're getting is one little bite, and
Yeah.
that's it. And it's
You're get
like you're always feeling empty.
you're getting the amuse bouche, and that's all you're going to get. But you're going to get 20 amuse bouches and wonder why
Mhm.
you're still hungry because you
Exactly.
haven't had a full meal. And
Exactly.
I completely agree with that. We're in a very interesting time though, where if you don't have anything of relevance to say, you're going to lose your audience very quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's still really important. Whatever you're doing to tease or bring your audience in, you better make sure you're bringing them in. And by the way,
Yes.
this has happened just as a parallel. We've seen this happen in the music world.
Hmm.
So it used to be in the music world, there was a formula to whatever makes a hit record, right? And you have this, 3 verses or sometimes 4, and that's what makes a hit record. And there was certain things that you could do. And if you didn't hook the listener until the chorus of the song, that was okay because they would stick around. Or if it was something that was more orchestrated, like Bohemian Rhapsody, for
Oh, yeah.
example, you would hook your audience. But Bohemian
Hmm.
Rhapsody wouldn't work today because, and maybe this is a bad example, but I think it's actually quite a good one. It wouldn't work today because it doesn't hook the listener right away.
Right in. It
It doesn't hook
builds.
them right in. So
Hmm.
that's why if you listen to modern day pop music,
Yeah.
it has a hook or something right away within those first 3 to 7 seconds, I think, that basically, yeah, claws right in
Pulls.
or fangs right in. So they're hooked into you, because if they don't, you're not going to listen. And if you don't listen, you don't download. And if you don't download, then the record company or the artist doesn't get the revenue from the download.
The 1 cent.
That 1 cent, but that 1 cent, if it's downloaded enough times,
adds up.
a million times, it adds up pretty quickly. So you want those downloads, you want that, but that's it. And by the way, this isn't just me saying this. This is somebody who has studied music, recorded music for the last 30, 40 years. Mm-hmm. And he's expressed it. His name is Alan Cross. He's a very prominent broadcaster here in Canada. Mm-hmm. And he has shared that. He shared this is what's happening. Mm-hmm. So record companies are all of a sudden scrambling because the formula for what makes a hit record is changing. So the formula for what makes a hit in your podcast or in your content is shifting as well. But you still need to have impact, but can you get to it more expeditiously as opposed to let's meander, or let's, even worse, let's not put out the best version of ourselves. Let's just put out some sloppy content. And we see a lot of that in the podcasting space. And that's what's hopefully will go away. I'm gazing into my crystal, my glass fishbowl again, seeing if it's going to go away.
Well, I think after a while, people then, and you realize I'm not satisfied. You know, back in the day, in the 70s, we would call that bubblegum music.
Yeah.
Right. It was like, you know, pop, eat the bubblegum, dance then there, but very repetitive. And just like a nice beat, very repetitive. Everybody bobs up and down, but not really any content, not any substance. And we know from many of the songs and the artists out there that are now making it, it's about their lyrics, their content, their music. How does it make us feel? Because they're the poets, they're the representation of how society feels, right? But unless you're willing to truly listen, you're not going to get that content. And do they always engage straight off? Because most songs do not come out of the gate, you know, firing away. They start off slow. But it is, and, you know, getting back to this instant world, what are we creating? And in business, it's very, very hard for people. Like, I don't want to be gimmicky, but how do I draw people in? How do I make people feel engaged? And I think is know who you are. If you are an upbeat type person, then come across in your podcast with some fun, maybe even some wackiness, depending what you're representing. I find, you know, I do a TikTok every week, 2 minutes maybe. And basically, it's generally kind of a little bit of a headliner of a show I've done where I just talk about a philosophy. Are you doing this? Are you doing that? I know I can't come out and be rah, this and that. I'm not that, right? I'm kind of a deep thinker, speaker, and I just share that. It's amazing how many people kind of follow that, but it's always the link and the invitation back to the content and the shows, right?
Yeah.
And it's like there are places that you can do that and draw people back, but you've got to make sure that when they are drawn back, that engagement is something they're going to give up their time for.
Absolutely. And I think you hit on a very interesting point there, Sarah, is it's the link to draw them back. Mm-hmm. And there are so many individuals, we'll call them podcasters, because that's what we're talking about, who don't draw them back. They either don't draw them back with a link, or they don't draw them back with something that is a click.
Right.
And you need to be able to do that. And we see this a lot on Instagram, where it's a little bit more complex to put a link in there.
Yeah.
It's not just like copy and pasting in a link, and you think people will copy and paste it to wherever they are.
Yes.
People aren't going to do that. They just will not do it. So we also see that in the Instagram world too, but also in other social media spaces. You really have to know, firstly, you need to know your audience, but secondly, you need to know what is the protocol or what is the way to get people to click that link.
Yeah.
Is it posting it in the comments below? Is it posting it in the body of the message? How long does that thing need to be? How long does your audiogram or promo video need to be? Interestingly, I was blown away with how many reels don't get engagement because that's all they are, is just reels. And how many podcasters rely on those reels saying, I got to do reels, need to put all these reels thinking it's getting engagement, and it's not.
Yeah.
because either it's not a clickable link, or the content in the reel isn't hooking them in to click the link. That's
Yeah.
the key, which goes back to content.
Yes.
How are you
And you,
positioning it?
how do you feel about with people like, yes, they've got their business, they have their site, and of course, you want their video on their site, but you want their podcast elsewhere to bring people back to their site. Um, how do you feel about them using things like Instagram or TikTok or Substack or other type platforms where, I will take my summary of my podcast and put it on Substack with then the podcast in there and the links and everything for people to go back to. We have to kind of take off the old hat and kind of like, where are people being engaged? And to realize millions of people have been engaged there, but what are you doing to be engaged by? Because
Mm-hmm.
where are people going in order to seek this knowledge that you have, that you want to draw them back to your site?
This is an interesting debate. I have an opinion. I don't know if it's a popular opinion, but I think that Google is aware that, I don't want to say their days are numbered, but they're aware that there's a new kid on the block.
Yes.
Called ChatGPT or AI, which people are using for research.
Yes.
Where people don't even have to go to do their research on Google, and they don't have to go to Google. They could go to any other search engine and still leveraging ChatGPT or notebook.lm or whatever and get that same information. So this goes back to your point. What about the website? What about SEO? What about if it's what about if I'm drawing people back to my website? Because we were trained 10, 15 years ago, even beyond that, you have a website, it's got to be SEO. You have to backlink people wherever you're going. You got to backlink. In this era, is that still relevant? And I don't have the answer to that question. I'd like to think, yes, SEO is still important, or relevant information that makes it searchable is important. Interestingly, I had somebody within the last calendar year find my company, not through a Google search, but through an AI search. So we need to ask ourselves that question. Are we searchable, or are we linkable, or is there enough information out there about what we do that we're bringing people in that way?
So like the gone blank, but
this is why I said this is a debate, right?
Yes,
because it's a hot button topic, because there are people who do nothing but create websites, and they do great jobs at it, and they write SEO, and they do all of these things, and it's all set up, and we scratch our heads and go, is this really relevant though now?
Okay, I'm going to look at it from my point of view. So many people, I know I don't have a site. I've got LinkedIn, I've got this and that. And then when people go to it, there's the certain amount of blurb, maybe a couple of videos, but it's still a long streamline. I kind of look at the website as your storefront. It is actually your building of business. And you may have different levels in that business that cannot be properly seen on all these other media platforms, because they're limited in how much you're allowed to put out there. And then if they're looking at content, it's streamlined. And I think with a site, you can go to, I'm looking for this information, boop, 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 and find it, and not have to scroll down or stream this or look there, that. I think all those social medias are, again, a lovely invitation to bring you back to the content. But I do look at people's websites when I'm going to interview them. I want to see, what I'm going to be, putting out there. The other thing is having a website that truly represents you and what you do, and not just a very pretty website which is the latest fashion and there isn't anything of you in there.
I think you hit on a very interesting point there. And by the way, I agree that you should have a web presence, right?
Yes.
Or you should have a website. In business, you should have a website. But there are a lot of people in business who don't have websites.
I know.
They might be a coach.
Yep.
And I don't mean like a hockey coach or anything like that. I mean
Yes,
like
yes.
they're a
Life
business
coach,
coach,
business coach.
life
Yes.
coach, business coach. They don't have websites, but they're still raking in $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 clients by having a very active LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
account, for example. So,
I
so
think it
this is why
depends
it's
is
the
what
interesting
it is
debate.
you're representing. I've got 3,800
Sure.
shows, right?
Absolutely.
Having that on
Absolutely.
a LinkedIn is not going to represent.
No,
So I have
no,
to have a site so you know where to go, how to find things and the information that is there.
exactly.
If you are a coach and you specialize in ABC and LinkedIn can represent that, and that's all you need, great. But I feel if you have layers in your business,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
more information that people need to find clarity on and not have to search through, it's there, clear in the tags A, B, C, D. I'm looking at your book, I'm looking at your this, I'm looking at your that, and I want to see it's clear. Then I think that is something that gives you clarity. Whereas very often, but I think if you just look, I'm a Reiki coach. This is what I do. Da da da. Reach out to me this way, here, there, and everywhere, and then you don't need the big thing.
And for
So
that reason, there are people who promote their products and services through other people's networks.
yes,
So ergo, and again, this is why it's, you know, what color is the dress? Remember that debate? What color was that
I
dress?
don't think it's an all or nothing, and I think it has to be
Exactly.
customized to what it is you're
Exactly.
offering.
Exactly. I think, and there lies the debate, because it's
Mm,
where are you? So, for example, if I'm a business that goes to consumers, so B2C, right? I'm a B2C. I'm not. I'm B2B. But if I were B2C, does it make sense for me to open my own storefront to be
mm-hmm.
B2C?
Right.
Or do I have the type of product that I can put it in another place? Because I
Mm-hmm.
don't need my own storefront. Or I don't have the revenue right now to warrant having my own storefront. And even now in this, well, it's been going on for years, but can I get away with not even having a physical brick and mortar store?
Mm-hmm.
Can I just have my own online store,
Mm-hmm.
my own, as opposed to leveraging it? So there's a that's why I think it becomes an interesting debate, or an interesting conversation, because we're talking about podcasting. Yes, I believe that if you are leveraging it for business, you probably have web presence already.
Yes.
Uh, so therefore, you should be putting your podcast on your website.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And if you
You
don't
should.
have a podcast, then put it up on your LinkedIn. And if you're in
Sure.
business, it should be on LinkedIn. There's a lot of people that don't like LinkedIn and they're going elsewhere. There was somebody I had on the other day saying they will not do LinkedIn. And I think that's actually where um, Scroll
Yes.
or Substack, is
Yep.
kind of coming in where people are using that as their platform. Again, is how
Perfect.
much have you got to share? If it's simple and repeatable, then you don't need a site. If it's something where you're offering multiple layers, I believe you need the clarity of a
Mm-hmm.
site.
Absolutely. I also tune it to, because a lot of people will ride the wave because it's a trend,
Hmm.
right? Remember, a few years back, especially during the pandemic, everyone was like, "Oh, Clubhouse. You have to be in
Hmm.
Clubhouse. Join Clubhouse. You should be in
You could only
Clubhouse."
do it if you were an iPhone.
I had so many people telling me, "Carl, you should be in Clubhouse. You know how many
Yes.
people in there are potential clients? You should be in Clubhouse."
Yeah.
So I actually signed into Clubhouse more because I was participating in a virtual event and they were
Mm-hmm.
using Clubhouse as their platform. I signed into this event, and you know what? That's the only time I ever leveraged Clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went in a few more times to check it out. Where is Clubhouse now?
Exactly.
Because everyone rode this trend, and big thought leaders, medium-sized
Mm.
thought leaders, they all rode this Clubhouse trend. But where is it now? Doesn't exist.
It's a lot of like MLMs, hype, hype,
Yeah.
hype, da 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 da, get everybody signed up. The top have made their money and off they go. So
Yeah.
it's like, is this a hype? That there's many platforms I look at and I go, I don't find them friendly. So I don't want to
Yeah.
be on them. Now, I'm on a platform called Alignable. Not as easy to follow conversational threads, but really a
No.
good one as connections.
Mm-hmm.
And I've met
Mm-hmm.
a lot of really great people through there. but it's not really a one of kind of sharing conversation, so to speak, or being
Yeah.
invitational. Um,
Yeah.
More of a referral type thing in many ways. And it's like, look at your platform. Not there is no one size fits all.
Exactly.
Where would your podcast go that actually would be where your clients are going to be, that is beneficial to you? And I think that's the thing, is that we look at something and think, well, social media, blast it everywhere. I blast it in a number of places. There's a lot of platforms I haven't joined because I find them too hype. And I find if something is hype, it's going to burn out,
Mm-hmm.
or in fact, maybe finally settle down. But it's like you want something that really you feel, do I want to be represented on this? Does this
Yeah.
represent me? Look
Mm-hmm.
at who else is on that platform. Is it all rah-rah people, 90-second attention span? Or is it, oh gosh, there's some really interesting people here for juicy content or connection?
The other thing I ask myself as a business owner, I'll say, are my clients there?
Yes, that's the point. Yeah,
So I know that for our products and services, most of our clients are likely not on TikTok.
right.
So why would I spend my efforts
Hmm.
creating content and blowing up a channel on TikTok for maybe one client every 3 years?
Yeah,
It doesn't make
no,
any sense,
no.
especially because I think, and again, I think of also who your client is.
Hmm.
Where are they spending their time?
Hmm.
A number of our clients are in the professional category. They're
Hmm.
coaches, they're consultants, as you mentioned in my intro. They're subject matter experts. They might be lawyers. They might
Hmm.
be doctors.
Yeah,
They're probably not spending a bunch of time on TikTok.
no.
They're probably not
Well,
there.
maybe it shouldn't
They
be.
they might be on LinkedIn.
Yes.
There's also a chance they're still hanging around Facebook,
Hmm.
but definitely LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Um, but ask yourself, if your audience is on TikTok, great, then that's where you should be going.
Yes. And
Absolutely.
again, is what kind of podcast are you putting out? You know, your main
Sure.
aim is inspiration for invitation, right? You want to get people engaged with what you do. And so obviously you're going to follow a platform. If somebody needs a lawyer or an accountant or this or that, they're not going to go to TikTok, right? But if somebody is looking for somebody, then other platforms, we've got to do our due diligence and not just blanket everything. Also, when we put the podcast out, you've got to be inspirational, which is like
Mhm.
share a little story, you know, invite the people in by the fireside to want to know more, or the boardroom and want to be a part of the project. Um, but don't rah-rah it. Do you remember Flash? That
Yeah.
irritating thing. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I
Oh,
do.
oh, so irritating. In your face. And we're getting the in your face now with people bombarding people with pitching,
Oh,
right? You know,
yes.
you click on a connection with someone, the next thing you know, pitch, and it's like off, click, delete. You know, for me, if you can't reach out and be engaging and start a conversation and want to know who I am before you're pitching to me, I don't want to know, because that's just another form of flash. So when you put out a podcast, it isn't about the rah rah or, special deal, buy now, do. We don't want that. There's too much of that. It's like, why should people look
Mhm.
at what you do? What's the engagement there? Why are you so different to everybody else doing it? And they want to feel you. They
Mhm.
want to
Mhm.
hear the words that are coming from your mouth and feel they're authentic. They want to feel a connection. They want to feel, oh, I can really resonate with this person and I really want to reach out. So you've got to look at yourself as putting out a podcast. Who are you and what are you really trying to do? Get clients? Yes. But are you losing yourself in doing it, or are you being authentic in your invitation?
And I think that's an interesting point that you make there, because we've seen a lot of the check out my latest podcast episode 138 with Sarah
Mm-hmm.
Troy, where we talk about XYZ. Doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It might have worked years ago, but it doesn't work now. You need to be able to, like you shared, you need to be able to tell that story. And it doesn't need to
Yeah.
be a long story. It can be something that engages the viewer or the listener to want to know or find out more of the story.
Exactly.
And when you set the stage, it's like setting the table. You
Mm-hmm.
can,
Mm-hmm.
if you set the table, let's say it's Sunday night dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is twice we've talked about food on the show.
We
But
must be hungry.
you're setting the table for Sunday night dinner, right? You could either put out paper plates and plastic
Mm-hmm.
cutlery like you're going to a picnic,
Mm-hmm.
or you can pull out the nice china plates that only come out on Sundays with the nice cutlery, or just the regular plates that you use, but you're not going to pull out just the paper plates.
No.
You're going to give a little bit more because
Attention.
you've invited grandma and grandpa for dinner that night,
Exactly.
or your parents or whoever it is. You're going to go that little bit, that step
Extra.
further, that sets the table for what's to come.
Exactly. Exactly. And, is it juicy enough to people thinking, I want to, I
There's
want to
another
come.
food analogy. Is it juicy enough?
Life is a buffet, but we don't have to partake of everything at the buffet. We're going to go to the things that, that we like or that we have a sample of. All right. And it's like there is no one size fits all. You are not one person that the last solution. When somebody starts pitching one stop, you never need to go anywhere else. And they immediately kind of, right? Because we are a village, we are a community.
Mm-hmm.
And my analogy is the orchestra. Each one of us is an instrument. We know how to play well, and we can play as a soloist. However, when we join an orchestra and in harmony agree to play in each of our own strengths together, we become transcending, right? So it could be, this is my forte. This is my dish on the table. But now you've partaked of my dish. I really would love you to try so-and-so's dish because, they're the next phase in your appetite, right? And it's
Right.
that willingness to say, my strength, my instrument, not the be all and the end all. Because then
Right.
that's misinformation, that's fake information, that is hype, and it puts people off. So
Yeah.
when you are doing a podcast, it is about introducing who you are, why you are, what you're doing, and sharing a tidbit of what you do in a way that resonates with the person listening.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you've covered some amazing ground there. Is it we will promote, for example, our services as being, we won't say full service, because a lot of people think of gas stations when we say that. Oh, we're a
But you
full
don't get those
service.
attendants anymore.
Yeah, and people automatically think of ding ding.
Yes.
Yeah, I like my windshield washed, and the fill up with petrol, please. That's what we need. But we do promote that. That's what we do. However, we also understand that there are certain things that, even though we say we are a one-stop shop or a full service solution, by the way, we don't say that in our ads.
No.
Any promotion that we make, we do not say that. We don't even allude to it in that, using that verbiage in a sales call. We will say it in a more professional way. However, we understand that we can't do everything.
Exactly.
So we just do not, even though I spent years in conventional media, we do not have the capacity to do conventional media promotion or advertising. It's just not something we do. We're not a publicist. It's not a service we provide. Could we? Sure, we could, but it's not something we do. So if you wanted something in that arena, okay, well, then that's a different type of service, not one that we provide, right? But we can do certain things. But we also understand that, there are also people who are experts at, or they do a deeper dive in social media, or they only focus on video, or they make amazing graphics for your show art. All of those things that are important. We have some great people on our team, but also understanding that there are other service providers out there who might also be able to provide an amazing service. So to your point, it can be a village. Your village could be like a department store, but understand that not everyone wants the department store experience.
No.
Some people only want this from the department store, and their whatever it is from another vendor or another supplier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is that what you do is for people who have a career, this XYZ is their expertise, but they see the benefit of having a podcast. But what they don't want to do is all the time-consuming things of producing a podcast, right? Your
Yeah.
content, you've got to actually do it, but you don't want to do the editing, the rendering, the adding the graphics, the this, that, etc. Look, I've been doing it for 13 and a half years or 12 and a half years with my own network. It's time consuming, right?
It is.
And it's necessary. So the whole point is if you can just say, here is my podcast, this is, what I'm doing, and then somebody else puts that together for you and now finished package to go off, you're using it as let's say podcasting is a marketing tool. Let's understand that. It's a marketing tool. It's an invitation through inspiration, but it's a marketing tool. And you want to know that it's polished, that it's organic, it is you, but that somebody else has put it together in a way that it is polished and finesse and not flawed, where you go and look at, I don't know, you can see this is amateur. And then immediately kind of think maybe the person is amateur.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You want to make sure that, I mean, that polish to us is so important. And that to me is what separates the amateur from the professional.
Yes.
Which also separates business from hobby. So if your business is exactly that, a business, then you should probably be taking your podcast seriously. Have fun with your show, but you should probably be taking what it looks like, what it sounds like, seriously.
That's the accountability, right?
Yeah. You wouldn't think to go to a medical practitioner who only does 75% of the job.
Right.
Right? Oh, forgot a couple of sutures. Oh, left the scissors in. You know what I mean? You wouldn't do that. Or you wouldn't go to
you're going for laser surgery and only do half an eye.
Yeah. Or you wouldn't go to an auto mechanic who only, replaced 3 of your tires, not the 4th. Or really said, yeah, your car will run on 3 tires. What do you need the 4th one for? No, you wouldn't even think to do that. No. So why do we do that to our podcasts?
Yes.
For business. I understand, again, if it's a hobby, right? But if it's for business, and it is again, I've said this earlier, if it is supposed to be a reflection of your brand, your business, and your credibility, you need to look and sound the part. You wouldn't think of walking out on a stage in front of an audience full of your ideal clients in your underwear. So why do we do that with our podcasts? Why do we think it's okay?
We're not taking it seriously.
We're not. And again, it doesn't have to be it has to be serious.
No,
straight in the tie. No, not that kind of serious.
No.
The end product needs to be something that is bringing the listener, the viewer in, which also goes back to, how are you structuring your content? Are you talking to your listener? Are you talking above them? Are you
talking at them or with them?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Are you asking them questions? And again, 25 years in radio broadcasting, I know how to talk to myself. Sometimes I get weird looks, but seriously, but I know how to have a conversation and engage the audience, whether I have a guest or not.
Exactly.
And it goes even something as simple as asking questions. If you're sitting there and you're doing a solo show, because there are a lot of solo podcasters out there, you think, I'm just going to give you information. Information is what people want. No, they still want the story, right? We talked about that earlier. They still want the story. What if you said, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. See what I said there? Let me ask you, not, hey, listeners, I have a question for all of you. Which one is more personable? Let me ask you this question is more personable. Anyways, there's that. Here's the question, whatever it is. Has that ever happened to you? And then carry on the conversation and tell the story and bring the listener back in all the time. You can't help but win.
I agree. I did a public talk the other day, and I was at the beginning of a migraine, and I'd done one the week before. I'd used slides, and I'm just not good with that, because I really am better just organic, even when I do my own shows, press record and what comes out. Sometimes it's around a topic, sometimes it's whatever comes out. I've been doing it a while, so I can do that. But even in my talk the other day, it was sharing my story, then asking the audience to share theirs. Right? Now, if you're podcasting, share something, and then even ask the audience, what would you do in this situation? right?
Exactly.
It's like, has this happened to you? Make it something where they're on the other side going, yes, it has. Blah, 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 blah. Right? You get me. You've gone through it too. Da, 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 da. I want to know you. I want to get engaged. Not to be married, but engaged.
Different kind of engagement.
A different kind of engagement. But one where you feel that you're being spoken with, not
Yes.
to or at. One where you
Yes.
feel this person really gets it because they've been through it or they see it or they understand it. We don't want to be with people who don't understand. We don't want to be people, I'll have you all fixed in 3 months with an hour a week program, and it's all done online by a robot. No, we don't want that. We want engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are putting out a show, especially one that is representing you and your business, it's your window. Like your website is that content inside the store. The podcast is the window that brings them in. So you've got to really dress it up in a way that is representative of what's on the website, representative of who's behind the website, and to make sure that that consistency and coherence is there. Because if it isn't, if there's one little kind of scratch on the record, it immediately jars people off and off they go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
speak from the heart, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It goes back to what we talked about being authentic, being yourself, the real version of you. You don't have to put on a voice. You don't have to put on I say voice because, we need to look the part in a video.
Yes.
So we might need to
the
comb our
lighting, the way
hair.
you dress, and things like this. Exactly.
I don't need to comb my hair, but that's for glaringly
polish
obvious reasons. Yeah, just a little bit of that up there. But we need to sound the part, right?
Yes.
We need to look the part as well, for that matter, right? We need to not just show up in our pajamas. We need to, unless it's a show about pajamas.
Yes.
Or sleep story time or something, then that's different. That goes back to your branding or the purpose of your show. But when it is definitely when it is for, how do you show up to work?
How
do you show up when you're on stage?
Yes. And the beauty of a podcast, it's top up, not bottom down. So you can
wear
those pajamas on the bottom if you want. But the important thing is, it is that window into who you are and what you're offering. Now, having said that, we kind of sold the people on the why they need one. But okay, they say, I don't have the time for anything else. I just want to do it. Give somebody the file and they do the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where you come in. How do you help them put it out there?
Yeah. Well, we're a one-stop shop for it. No, I'm just kidding. I had to get that in there at least one more time. But basically, we like to go on the concept of, if you're doing this for business, you're probably very busy.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make it as easy as you either show up and we record and you leave it to us to do all the rest, or you hit record. Right? If it's a virtual type thing, you hit record, send us everything, and we do all the rest. So that is all of the cleanup of the audio, the cleanup of the video, also all of the graphics, audio branding. So we know what brands look like, but what do they sound like? So we'll have audio branding built into that as well. But then also making sure we have created promotional tools for you so that you can use them on the platforms where they're relevant to you. So audiograms, reels, if you're using them, promo reels. And again, it all depends on what package or what individuals are needing. But that's how we serve people. Everything we do starts with strategy. Everything we do starts with strategy. Because if it doesn't, then we could be doing you a disservice, not a service. So we want to make sure we know the outcome that you're looking for. What's the goal of the show? What's your vision for the show? Yes. And not just a short-term vision. Where do you see the show 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line? Because if this is for your business or your brand or your credibility, where do you see it 3 years from now? Podcasting is a long game, not a short game.
Building on the contact. Yeah.
So that's what we do, is help people in that. So strategy first, then audio branding, then all of the production to put the show together, and then the promotional tools to help you in promoting your show. Most of the people who work with us, they want to do their own promotion, as in they do their own social posts or they do their own email campaigns. That is something that for the right individual who needs that, we could do that as well. But that's what we're doing is all of that as is needed. The non-negotiables are the strategy, the audio branding, and all of the production. Used to be we would piecemeal stuff together, and it just gets too confusing when, okay, this person needs their artwork, but this one doesn't, and this one's bringing their own.
This is the basic package.
This is the basic.
You can go to the Supreme package, but the basic package is non-negotiable.
Right? And what's funny is we never used to do audio branding until we realized the importance of it.
Right.
And how crucial a component it is, especially if your podcast is for business. Again, we all know what brands look like. But what does your business sound like? What does your brand sound like? What do people identify as with your business? So with stock music or royalty-free music, you don't get that.
Yeah.
With audio branded music and other sounds, you do get that. And yes, obviously there are AI tools that can create that, but we create it because therefore we have a little bit more creative control over it. And so do you as well, once it's published.
The thing about having kind of an intro music is that people identify with it, right? And what it does is it sets their mind. I'm listening to the intro, and now it's setting my mind up ready to hear the content. It's that buffer between your busyness and now focusing in on what you're going to hear. Now, I've been doing the video side of it now for over 6 years, 2018, 7 years. And I just did audio for a while. I still say that audio is more popular because people can listen to it anywhere. Some people really do like the video, so please make sure that your video is engaging. And some people need the video because they want to share something. And the consistency between the audio and the video is important. I've got a program where what you're going to be hearing and what you're seeing is completely in sync with each other. The important thing is, does it invite people in? Is it setting the stage for them to listen? Is it giving them some content that's going to serve them? Is it that invitation or something they can mull over, a piece of wisdom that you've shared, right? Let that sit with you. Another video coming out next week where I'll address that question, right? Something to bring them back. Oh, I've thought it over. This was my answer, but I want to hear what their answer is, and something to bring them back. But you want to have somebody who does it. Look, I do it all. I wear all the hats, and I tell you, there's certain hats that I've worn through the time that's made my neck very, very wobbly. Very. And I've had to learn, because when I started 2012, it was 2013 with my own network, there really wasn't an awful lot of assistance. So I've just learned to do it all. I can just clickety click, 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 click now because I'm in automation with that. It is still time consuming. And you still want to have something that represents who you are, why you are, and what it is that you do. Nobody's going to click on that if they don't see the invitation. The invitation is not only the title, but the graphic, or that when they first click on it, whatever intro music is there that is engaging, and now they're going to hear that content. And that content, you always want to leave them hungry for more.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. But you do. You literally want to make sure that everything is there. It's an experience.
Yes.
It's like going to the theater.
Yeah.
Really. Listening to or going to a show, listening to your favorite song, whatever it is, you need it. You need the whole package, right? You've probably heard, I'll say YouTube versions of, or somebody's uploaded something to YouTube and it's not the full version of a song, or it's only a clip of this and you go, oh, I wish I could see just this much more. You want the full experience, right?
Exactly.
And the full experience, by the way, doesn't mean it needs to be long. We've worked on podcast episodes that are as short as 3 minutes. We worked on podcast episodes that are, we don't usually work on longer ones. Most of our clients come in at around the 30, 40-minute mark.
Especially in business,
Especially in business. There are some that do go on, though, for an hour and a half. And that's okay. it's how long will your audience engage you, and are you leaving them with that where they can go, oh, that was an amazing experience. You're leaving them with tangibles, you're leaving them with tools, you're leaving them with things where they go, I can hardly wait for what Sarah's going to say in that episode she mentioned next week.
Yes.
By the way, people don't always talk like this, but it's amazing when they do.
Yeah.
When they say something like, I heard you on, I used to get this all the time when I worked in radio. I heard you on the radio the other day and you were talking about such and such. Now, understand, when I worked in radio, it was, not to be rude or discredit what I did, but it was garbage in, garbage out. Okay. So it was whatever I'm talking about, garbage in, going to talk about it, be polished on it, and then it's out the door. So if somebody said, I heard you on the radio the other day and you were talking about this thing, I'd be like, what day was that? Thursday.
Yes.
Thursday. What time? Like, because I'm trying to remember what was it I was talking about.
Yeah.
But point is this: you've created such an experience for people that they do say, oh, yes, I listen to your podcast regularly. As a matter of fact, I heard your episode with Sarah Troy, blown away by your conversation. Can't wait to hear the next one.
And some people may actually have to hear 2 or 3 of them before they can become completely engaged. And it doesn't always, transfer into being a client. It may be that they actually don't need you as a client, but however, they do know somebody that does. And because they really feel they've heard you and they've felt you and they've really been inspired by you, a referral. Never underestimate that referral, or that, I heard this person, you've got to hear them. They're fantastic. I think it's just exactly what you need. So people are looking at, how do I get a client? How many clients can I get from it? Don't do that, right? It's like when we put out a podcast, we share it. It's out of our hands. Who's going to listen to it? What they're going to get from it? What they're going to do with it? My motto is listen, learn, and apply. But it's out of my hands of what they've listened to, what they've learned, and what they apply. But you hope that it's engaging enough that they want to come back and hear more, right? Yeah. So don't always look at it, it's going to be transferring to sales, right? It could be something that people just listen to for that wisdom and you're changing their lives that way. Or it could be they're going to refer you, or it could be, yes, I've listened to you long enough, I know I need you now.
It's about being top of mind.
Yes.
Really is what it's about. When you are top of mind, it's about building that know, like, and trust factor. I know we hear that a lot, but it really is. It's about building that and being top of mind. So when people need a lawyer, a podcast strategist, whatever it is they need, that they think of you. Or if they know someone who needs that, they think of you. I heard this podcast with this guy. You should check him out. That is what you want. And you're right. It might not lead to a client, and it might not lead to a client immediately. And I think that's one of the unfortunate things that people expect is they say, I've got 10 episodes out here. Why is
banging down the door?
why the cash cow should just be singing? And it's like, because you haven't built enough yet. And yes, unless you already have that established credibility, like an Oprah Winfrey, like a Tony Robbins, somebody like that, that's a thought leader or a celebrity, take some time.
It does.
Be
and it took them
yourself.
Time. Their overnight success took 15 or 20 years, right?
Exactly. So, Oprah Winfrey was a failing journalist.
Yeah, exactly.
Before she became Oprah, well, she was probably called that before, but before she became
the icon.
Oprah. Exactly.
Yes.
So of course she's going to get the recognition and the stat and the more quickly because she's been there, done that.
But how has she done it? She shared the stories that made an impact. What we don't want, if you're a lawyer on a podcast, I'm so successful, I won this case and I won that case. We don't want that. We no bragging, no ego, please. Instead, it's like, I had this case where this was the problem. This is how we went about with the solution. And I can happily say today, this is the results. That is you blowing your own trumpet without bragging and being egotistical.
What's that saying? People don't care what they know until they know that you care.
Exactly.
So if you're just spouting off a bunch of statistical information, or if you're just saying, hey, I've done this and I have all these accolades to my name and I've got this many degrees and this many certifications and I've earned the right and we won this litigation because of nobody cares. Tell them the story.
There's
Tell them
enough
the full
tell them the
story.
story. There are enough narcissists in the world at the present moment. We don't need any more. It's the day of the rah rah and the and the six figures. Quite honestly, they're on the way out. People are
Yeah.
saturated with it. They want to be able to look at your eyes if they're watching you on a video, or they want to hear it in your voice. You
Yep.
truly care about your clientele.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And when you bring that forward, when you show that you do care, not just show it, but say it,
Feel it,
feel it.
send it out there. Yep. The people
You
can
know,
pick up
even
that essence. Yes.
you know how many times in an episode I will thank, well, not in an episode, but in episodes, I will thank my audience
Mm-hmm.
regularly. I'll say, hey, thank you for being along with me
Yeah.
on this journey. Thanks for joining me on, I know you're listening to I don't know how many listeners I have. It doesn't matter
Exactly. It
because
doesn't.
I am thanking them. I am grateful that they're there. And I want to be there to help them in whatever it is that they need assistance with. And
Exactly.
that's, yeah,
The domino effect, right? You
100%.
help one, that person then helps another, right? And it escalates from there. And the whole thing about life is that you want to share what it is you're doing because it's so meaningful to you. It's your calling, it's your purpose, and you really want to share what it is you're doing because it had an impact on your life.
Yeah.
And that is what people want to feel from you. I'm doing this because this impacted my life, and now I want to impact your life because I'm through this. But it isn't about the sales pitch. It's about sharing your why, and that's so important. And so if you are a business person that you want to do podcasting, but it's like, I tried it and it's so much work and I don't have time for it. This is a way to do it where you could be putting out just 10-minute, 15-minute videos a week. You could be answering a question, or you could be posing another question that invites people back in. Choose your style, choose the way you're going to do that. I suggest you actually practice, do a Zoom thing and practice on it. See yourself coming back. How do you look on camera? Get familiar with the camera. Get familiar with your style, your rhythm, the way you want to do it. And then when you're ready to say, yes, I want to do a podcast that is the window into my work, the window into my calling. Now I'm ready, but I don't want to do all the tech stuff.
Mhm.
And then this is where Carl's company is there for you. They will make it simple. You give them the content, they put it together. It's now ready to go out. Podcast solutions made simple. And this is the thing, people overcomplicate. You get companies that no, life is already complicated enough to simplify it for me. Somebody can do it. I can send them the content. Whew, one thing off my shoulder, but I'm still getting that content out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's why we branded the company that way. Podcast
Yep.
Solutions Made Simple, because I like simple.
Yes. So
Anytime
much
it's too
easier.
complicated, like I just prefer it to be simple. It's not that the product that we put out for our clients is cookie cutter or Mickey
Right.
Mouse. No, we just want it to be simple so that what is going out there is highly professional. But for you, the customer, the professional who's wanting to be seen as the expert, put yourself in that category of one.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do all the work. Make it simple for yourself. Yeah.
Simply impactful
Yeah. Yeah.
by keeping
Exactly.
it simple. There are, I think, 4.8 million podcasters out there,
Yeah, something like that.
and not all of them are active. And believe me, so many people, well, I had a podcast once, but it was so much work, or I didn't know what to say, or I didn't know this, I didn't know that. When you actually understand that your voice does matter, what you're doing really does matter, you are really serving humanity in a way that they can individually grow. And as we all individually grow, so does society, that it is impactful for you to have a podcast. And whatever your business is, there is no honing in. You may not have a business. Maybe you're a philosopher. Maybe you're somebody that just wants to share wisdom, but you still don't want to do that tech stuff.
Mhm.
Your wisdom is in the words, what you're saying and how you're feeling, and it isn't in all that other stuff. It doesn't have to be around business. Maybe your business is to sharing wisdom. So it doesn't matter what it is. So
Yeah.
if somebody wants to reach out, what's their first step, love?
The first step is to let's have a conversation. The easiest way to do that, because we just don't want you to jump in with both feet unless you're ready. Like if you're standing by the pool, you got your bathing suit on and you want to dive in, we're ready.
Right.
But if you're still, I live in Canada. If you're still wearing your parka, probably not wanting to jump in the water. You probably want
No.
to
You're waiting
take
for
off a
warmer
layer,
weather.
learn a few things, and then dive in.
Yes.
But the easiest way is to let's have a conversation, podcastsolutionsmadesimple.com. You click on the book a call link, and it's going to take you to a form. You fill that out, and then we're having a conversation and exploring what your goals are or what your vision is for your show. And then we can go from there.
And of course, you offer that 30-minute podcast strategy
Yeah.
session with so people can go onto the website and find it there. And of course, you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. So people can find you there. Podcast Solutions Made Simple, easy across the board. Facebook, Carl.Richards. You can find them in there. But, if there's so many people I know that, I'd love to have a podcast, but it's so much work. I wouldn't know where to start. Do I have a voice?
Mm-hmm.
If okay, I can see the benefits of it, but I just don't know how to go about it. And this is why you need to talk to somebody who does know. You've been on both sides. You're on the
Mm-hmm.
tech side of being able to put out the finished product, but you've been on the other side of presentation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And for people who don't know how to present, you've got that wisdom how to do it, right? And
Yeah.
you've got the technical how to do it for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I've sat in many chairs. I've worn many hats as well. So I've been a podcast host. I've been a podcast guest. I've been a speaker. I've been a broadcaster, analyzing audiences, understanding what people want. I kind of have some experience with that. So
Yes.
that's why I'm saying, before you knee-jerk react and say, I'm starting a podcast now.
Yes.
I'm just going to go rogue and do it on my own. Well, you can. Let's have a conversation first
I will
because
tell you, 99% of you will give up after the first 2 or 3 times
yep. Yep. You
because you
got you
realize how much work it is, or you realize it's not instant gratification, or you realize that the content you're putting out there isn't the right contact in the right way, right? You are representing yourself. So make sure when you put yourself out there that the person they meet in reality and the person that they're listening to on a podcast is the same person.
and that's what we do. And that's why we love it because our 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 work it's not we don't see it as work. It is, but
Exactly.
our pleasure is
Yeah.
in building out that content for you and helping you have fun in
Yes,
doing it as well.
exactly.
So,
Let
but it
somebody else
starts
do
with
all that work for you.
let us
You just get out there and share your performance. An actress or an actor on stage doesn't do the lighting or the sound or the staging or the costuming. They learn their lines and they get out there and they play a role. What we want to
e-
do is to play your role as you and leave all the theatrics to everyone else.
even a one person,
Yes,
one man show, one
yes,
woman show, they still have a lighting crew.
yes.
They still have a tech crew.
Mhm.
They still have somebody taking tickets at the door.
Mhm.
You don't have to do all of that. Let us help you do that. Let us be your guide, your beacon to better podcasting and success in doing so.
Podcast solutions made simple. As a podcaster for so many years and having had the joy of interviewing so many people, and then also doing my own shows through the years, when you do get feedback, it's always unexpected of how and where you've had the impact on people. You said this in one show and this made this change that, or you said, oh, that person that you interviewed so inspired me, I took a different direction. And we want the person, obviously, if you're looking at business, to take the direction in your way. But the gratification is knowing you've had an impact.
Mhm.
knowing that somebody benefited from the podcast that you did, whether it leads to your door or whether it's just empowered somebody's life. That's the kind of energy that we want to put out there into the world. So podcast solutions made simple. If you feel that it's time, you've put it off, you didn't know how, you didn't know, do I have it in me? Right? Yes, there's some things that you need to go through to hone it in a way that you can present, and let Carl help you, because that's what he's here for. He wants you to succeed. He wants you to be that window into your business that just makes people want to come in.
Is that where I say, my name is Carl Richardson, I approve of this message? Is that is that the ideal time to say that?
You absolutely do. I love that. So it's podcastsolutionsmadesimple.com. Easy. Podcastsolutionsmadesimple.com. Reach out, book that 30-minute strategy, have a look and see if Carl's the right fit for you, what it entails to put out a podcast. You already know how important it is by just listening here today. Uh, we know that you need to share your wisdom. We know that you need to share what your passion is and your conviction is. We're all here to serve one another. Your instrument is just as important to the orchestra as everybody else's. So reach out to Carl and let him help you and guide you on the way so that your voice could be heard, your wisdom shared. So thank you so much, Carl, for being with us here today.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It was my pleasure.
Oh, absolutely wonderful. And podcasting is absolutely great, folks. I know that when you really get into it and you really start sharing it, becomes a little addictive because the people you get to interview or the impact that you have, and there's so much more that you want to share, it really becomes an illumination. So jump in. The waters are great. Until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.